Hello, welcome back to Toy Thursday with Johnny Tiger on December 17, 2020. It is getting very close to Christmas, and one thing I've always enjoyed about this time of the year, even though when I was growing up, due to growing up in Taiwan, there was no such thing really as Christmas. But my birthday is just one day before Christmas, and this would be the time of the year where I could get a lot of action figures and toys. And that stays true even today. This is the time of the year when I will most probably, spoil myself a little bit by uh, splurging on some action figures that I've been wanting for a while. Usually, this is when I get the largest action figure shipment, largest action figure haul of the year. Now, what you're looking at in front of the camera, this is not an action figure. This statue of a dragon. It's the last gift I received from my younger brother before he, um, let's just say he disowned the family. Usually you get disowned by your family, but in my younger brother's case, it was a little bit of a mutual thing. Him and my father kind of disowned each other, and then he decided to include the rest of us in his distancing from the family. But in 2005, me and my younger brother, we were still pretty tight and still were hanging out quite often, helping each other out. And I remember him bringing this dragon statue over to me one day, and I was really impressed. I really liked it. Um, Peter, my younger brother Peter, always knew what kind of thing would grab my fancy. We grew up together, and for most of our teenage years, we were like best friends. We're there for each other, and so he pretty much knows, or he pretty much knew uh, what kind of thing I was interested in. So this was his last gift to me, and I still treasure it even today. It's a really nice statue. We look at the detail, and there's a little wizard standing in front of the dragon. This looks like the wizard has just summoned the dragon out of nowhere. Uh, I'm assuming that's the case. It doesn't look like the wizard is fighting the dragon because the wizard is facing away from the dragon. And the way the dragon is rising up in the back here definitely looks like the dragon is coming up to do the wizard's bidding. Turning it around to give you guys a back view. Very, very nice. This is a very nice statue. Pretty heavy too. Now, a few episodes ago, or let me say, quite a while ago, I remember we did Toy Thursday when I showed a few dragon action figures. While the subject of today's figures very similar to that episode, it is not dragons that we'll be looking at. I imagine most people that are not into fantasy books, fantasy genre, wouldn't know what wyverns are. The easiest way for me to explain wyvern is if you imagine the difference between a wolf and a dog, or the difference between a tiger and a regular house cat. Uh, a wyvern is basically the cat, and the dragon would be the tiger. They are basically the same. They basically look the same, but wyverns are much smaller. Most of the time, they don't get much bigger than uh, uh, larger, a little bit bigger than human size. Maybe a bit bigger if you count their wings, but they are not the house destroying, mountain burning kind of monster that dragons were said to be. So describing wyverns as mini dragons is quite accurate, although they do tend to look a little bit different depending on where they are portrayed. For the most part, wyverns are portrayed in one of two ways. They are either wingless, serpentine dragons, mini dragons that are about 10 feet long, and they live in dark caves, and they are very poisonous. So imagine kind of like a Chinese dragon without wings. Well, actually, there are a lot of Chinese dragons depicted without wings. So anyway, a lot of wyverns are depicted like that. But the more common depiction of a wyvern is something like a miniature dragon crossed with the pterodactyl dinosaur. Or actually, pterodactyls were not even dinosaurs, they were like flying reptiles. And technically, if you want to be scientific about it, pterodactyl is not even a proper name. I think they're called pterosaur. That's the proper way to address those things. But anyway, pterodactyl. When I say pterodactyl, you know what I mean. The most wyverns most commonly are depicted looking kind of like pterodactyls, like mini winged lizard things. Well, mini compared to a full-size dragon. Compared to humans, are still pretty big. Wyverns are, well, I guess you can say that they might be the size of a horse or something like that, with wings and scales and horns and claws, and some of them breathe fire, some of them can breathe lightning and stuff like that. They're pretty uh, dangerous in their own right, although in most fantasy-based games, wyverns are viewed as small challenges. You almost never see a wyvern as a serious uh, threat. They are the cannon fodder. They are the stormtroopers. They are the uh, monsters that you can kill in tens or hundreds or thousands just so you can wrap up enough kill for your character. When I look at what action figures to buy, quite often I run into a situation where I uh, do an impulse buy. What is an impulse buy? It's when I see something from a property, a cartoon or movie that I have no idea what it is. It's a character that I have no idea what it does. I have no idea what the backstory is. But something about it grabbed my attention, and I go, "Ooh, whoa, that thing is a wyvern. I got to have a wyvern in my collection." Or hey, whoa, that is a wolf. Do we have a wolf in our collection? No, we don't. Let's get that. So that is an impulse buy when I don't really know what I'm getting. I don't know the character. I don't know the movie or cartoon where it came from. I just grab it because I happen to uh, really am interested in that particular monster type or character type, and I need something like that in my collection. And there's nothing that catches my intention more than mythical monsters and fantastic monsters. If I am shopping and I come across a bunch of new Superman action figure, actually, let me give you a good example of that. Today I was browsing on Amazon and I came across this new action figure of J. Jonah Jameson. Now, for those of you who don't know, J. Jonah Jameson is the guy who Spider-Man works for in his human or civilian identity. When Spider-Man takes off his costume, he is Peter Parker, amateur reporter for the Daily Bugle, and J. Jonah Jameson is the owner of the Daily Bugle, and he is a big uh, critic of Spider-Man. He doesn't like Spider-Man. He criticizes Spider-Man, tries to smear and slander Spider-Man all the time. But for the most part, J. Jonah Jameson is just a regular guy. He's a editor, newspaper editor. He's an overweight older guy in a suit. So when I come across something like J. Jonah Jameson as an action figure, I go, oh, look at that! They made an action figure of uh, uh, Spider-Man's boss. But would I get him? Would I buy him? Not very likely, because on my shelves, where superheroes battle it out to the death, and mythical, fantastic monsters and legendary warriors duel to each other's mutual destruction, there's no place for a character like that. Uh, I don't really particularly have the need to know what this newspaper editor looks like, and I don't really have the need or the place for a character like that on my shelf. So even though he is an important character in Spider-Man's story, and even though he is a character that I don't have, I'm very unlikely to grab J. Jonah Jameson and add him to my shopping cart. Unless he go on sale, like if I see him go down to $10, then I say, well, okay, maybe then we'll do it. But on the other hand, if I'm browsing on Amazon, and actually both of the figures we're going to be showcasing today came about during my impulse buy session. I didn't know much about them. I didn't know much about what they were going to look like. I didn't know if they were good figures or not. I didn't know about the stories where they came from. But because they were wyverns, and I really don't see that many wyvern action figures around. And wyverns are awesome when you add them to your fantasy display. Uh, when you know we already talked about dragon action figures being mostly too small. Well, that is not really a problem with Wyvern because they're kind of small to begin with, relative to dragon. So even a 6-inch, 10-inch Wyvern against a human-sized like 6-inch warrior is not out of the question. It doesn't look weird. Now the first Wyvern I'm going to show you guys is from the once popular cartoon called Duel Master from 2004. He was made by Hasbro, the company that made G.I. Joe and Star Wars, and is now known for making Marvel action figures. And there he is. Look at this guy. This is quite an interesting design. When you look at this thing, you're thinking, wow, what is that? Is that a dragon? It's a dragon-like thing that somehow been combined with a helicopter. when you look at it, you're kind of thinking, is this organic or is this mechanical? Is this supposed to be a robot or a real animal? What is it? And that's what's so cool about this. This guy's name is the Gattling Skyterror. The Gattling Skyterror from the Dual Master cartoon and games. Now, what Dual Master? Honestly, I didn't know. When I saw this guy on the action figure website, Gattling Skyterror, I didn't know what Dual Master was. I just saw that in the description said this uh, robotic or this armored wyvern flees into battle with twin rotating cannon. Okay, that right there grabbed my attention. I was like, whoa, so this is a wyvern that has cannons and is like armored. That's cool. We can definitely use something like that in our collection of weird, strange creatures. I later researched, so Dual Master is like Magic the Gathering, if you guys know that. Basically, people, characters, uh, rather than fighting each other physically, they get these magical cards, like poker cards, like playing cards. And when they fight, they summon the creature out of these cards. So depending on how strong your cards are, then the further you can go in the world of Dual Master. So that's kind of an interesting idea that was very popular in the early 2000s. Now, Gatling Skyterror is one of the stronger cards you can obtain in the cartoon and in the game. So when you play this card, it summons forth this wyvern thing, and he has a lot of firepower to demolish your enemy's creatures with. From head to snout, he is about 10 inches long. Let me give you guys a view of his underside. See his stubby legs down here with big wicked claws. And what's really cool about this figure is if I pull his leg back, you'll see it will rotate his propeller. Yeah, that's really cool. It's a make a fun toy. The propeller on his tail, this thing here, also rotate, although doesn't do it by buttons or anything. Under both of its wings, it has this huge four-barreled cannon. Look at that, that's really cool. And each cannon have four barrels, like I said, and they have missiles for the barrels. Now I'm not going to demonstrate this on camera because these missiles tend to go missing if I fire them off. But there's a knob on the back of the cannon here. Now if I crank this over, it will fire all four missiles in succession. Just choo 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 choo. You know, like really quick. That's like really cool design on the toy. So this was a really fun toy for children and for a mythical creature display. It's just awesome. I mean, it's a miniature dragon combined with some heavy firepower and mechanics that make it look like a half dragon, half helicopter thing.
The time is now 9 p.m.
Really, really cool. And the details on his scale, on the tail, on the toenail, the claws, on the head, it's really nice. For for a figure made in 2004 and largely geared toward children, Gathering Sky Terror was definitely win for me when I bought him. It was an impulse buy that worked out really, really good. Uh, and even today, I, I still think that he's a really nice figure. For dragon lovers, monster lovers, or if you just need something that's kind of robotic to terrorize your other action figures, this is a really nice one. Fast forward to earlier this year. Actually, in the last couple of years, I keep coming across the action figure from the Fortnite video game. Now, I'm really not interested in Fortnite. To me, Fortnite is kind of silly, and it is. There's no story, there's no storyline, there's no plot, just a bunch of weird-looking, wacky uh, characters running around an island and trying to kill each other. It, to me, Fortnite is just not that interesting, not that appealing. However, earlier this year, I started thinking the two of the best toy makers in the industry, Mesco and Todd McFarlane, both companies have been producing Fortnite action figures like crazy. And this is rare. Usually you see like, if someone's making G.I. Joe, that will be the only company that makes G.I. Joe. If someone's making Superman, that's going to be the only company that makes Superman. So it's actually quite rare that you come across a property such as Fortnite that it's being made by two different companies at the same time, no less. And they are covering all different sizes, 6-inch, 7-inch, 4-inch, 12-inch, uh, and all kinds of different accessory packs and addition packs and stuff like that. So I thought, if two of my favorite toy makers, two of the best in the industry, making this property, maybe I should take a look at one of these action figures from Fortnite to see if they're really good. So I started looking, and that was difficult because not really caring about the video game itself, and since there's no story to go by, I can't really go online and look up which character is more cool, which character is more important in the story, because there's no plot. So not being able to see these characters, I really wasn't sure what I was getting into until I came across something that triggered my impulse buy tendency. I don't know if you can see it. Um, might be a little bit too high on its stand for you to see. This is called the Frostwing glider. Now, the name really doesn't make it sound all that cool unless you play the game and know what he is. But when I look at this action figure, the Frostwing glider, I looked in the description, and in one of the reviews, someone mentioned it's a cool looking wyvern. Bang! That made up my mind. This was going to be my first Fortnite purchase, made by Todd McFarlane in, I believe, in November last year, 2019. This turned out to be a magnificent action figure. Even though I still don't care for Fortnite, and I think a lot of the characters are silly, this was a great purchase. This was a great impulse buy. Let me show you that. Let me take him off the stand. It's really big, so I don't know if you guys can actually see the whole thing. From wingtip to wingtip, this thing is, I guess, 18 inches wide, and from tail to head, it's over a foot long. And just look at the underside of this wyvern. All these beautifully sculpted scales and the claws and the head. The head is just nicely made, and the mouth moves. It has articulated jaw. Look at those horns on the head. Really nice. I mean, this, as far as textures go, this is amazing. The texture of this thing is amazing. Leathery, almost feel like what I imagine a real dragon would feel like. And all spiky, that spine on its back, running down running down the center of its back. All these little teeth in the mouth. The tail is kind of bandy, so you can set it in different positions. This is a magnificent beast, a magnificent wyvern, and this was only 24 bucks. That's crazy. This is huge, huge action figure of 24 bucks by Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane faded out of the woodwork for a while, uh, and everyone kind of saw that he was gone, and his time was past. But he came back into the toy making spotlight with Fortnite, and now with DC Comics superheroes. And if he's making things this quality, he will still be one of the best toy makers out there. Okay, if he can make something this big and this cheap. Now, the even the wings articulated like, yeah. If I spread out the wings like this, it look even bigger. Like it's almost like 2 feet, almost 2 feet from wingtip to wingtip. This thing is crazy. Okay? And that's not only it. It comes with this tall stand, display stand, and will allow it to hover like a foot off the ground, like that. This is just a simply amazing wyvern, simply amazing, and even for people like myself who's not into Fortnite, who don't care for Fortnite, it's just a really worthwhile thing to have in your collection, especially you have fantasy figures, mythological figures, and you need something for your heroes to fight, or for your hero to uh, ride into battle with. On the underside of this wyvern, there's a couple of handles for your action figure to hold on to, so you can stage really wacky uh, scenes like this. Here is Legolas from Lord of the Rings swinging into battle, being carried by a magnificent wyvern called Frostwing. And look at that, you're carrying a 6-inch warrior, a 6-inch figure on its underside, and it's still hovering on the display stand, no problem. In fact, it can carry two figures, one on each side uh, of its body on the underside, and it can still hover like that, no problem. This is just really, really cool. It's open all kind of possibility for all kind of displays. and definitely it's one of my more uh, memorable purchases today. A couple of episodes ago, we talked about my reaction to action figure, and one of the reaction was the awesome, wow category. Now, this Wyvern, the Frostwing glider Wyvern, definitely one of those action figures that when I opened it, I had no idea what to expect, and when I finally got him put together and uh, inspected him or it, I went, whoa, whoa, maybe I should pick up some other Fortnite action figure if they were this cool. Thank you for checking out today's Toy Thursday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Fitness Friday. For now, have a good night.